And that made a big perspective. And that's when I first met Gary, is coming to those Tuesday Bible studies. And Duffy was a magnificent speaker when he wasn't available. But like I said, we invited those pastors from the local churches. And Jerry tells me, as I called him up a couple weeks ago, was asking about this. And he thinks the connections to our first InterVarsity staffer, who was a guy named Tom Newton, came on the scene that school year, 72, 73. And my memory didn't remember that, but I think he was basically introduced to the campus through some of those local pastors, and that's how they got up with Jerry and Duffy. But it was after Duffy and Gary graduated in 73, then they need somebody to take over the fellowship, and so it basically ended up in mine and Gary's hands. We started rooming together my sophomore year, and basically there wasn't anybody else to assume the leadership. We were stuck with it. And if you remember all the wonderful things that Moses said when God was challenging him to lead, he was saying, I'm too old, or too young, I don't know how to speak. And Gary and I had much better excuses than Moses did. But that's how we felt. And yet Tom was there to help us. And so Gary and I said, well, we don't know how to run a chapter. We don't know what we're doing. And so Tom, come and do this and do this. And he would never do that. He refused. He says, God didn't call me to UNC Charlotte. He called you. And he says, and I said, well, Tom, what is your job? He said, God called me to you. And that's how the chapter started. And I don't know if you know that some of the distinctives of InterVarsity, you guys just came and benefited from it. But after I left, graduated from college and went on staff, I really started to learn what InterVarsity was about and how it was founded and the philosophies behind that. And a couple of what we call the distinctives of InterVarsity were 4 words. It was an indigenous, autonomous, evangelizing fellowship. And you guys probably never heard those words. But what it meant by indigenous is it came up from within the university. That's the way InterVarsity was founded. It wasn't founded by